Hi, and welcome to TEDS 134, which is an adult supervision class. You probably, and you should have already taken quite a few of child development classes. This class is a little bit unusual in that we don't talk a lot about child development. There's not going to be a lot of discussion of Erikson or Piaget or working in the classroom. This classroom is focused more towards people who are in management, supervision, or have a leadership role within the early childhood education sphere. This class is part of some of the classes that you might take in order to get a program director or site supervisor permit as well. So I really trust that you have a wide breadth of child development knowledge, that you've probably spent some time working in the classroom, and we're going to be focused more on how you coach, mentor, supervise, and work with other people within our early childhood education fields. In this video, it is designed to be a welcome video to you. I'm going to go over the syllabus. I'm going to go over what the class looks like online, because this is an online class exclusively, how you can communicate with me, and then a little bit more on some of the requirements that you might need for this class. This is a Zoom video, and this is how I'm going to do your weekly lectures. So each week I will open up the class. I do it 6 a.m. on Mondays, so that week's work is open every Monday at 6 a.m. From Monday 6 a.m. till Sunday, the following Sunday at 11:59, you have that entire time to work on the class at your own pace. At Sunday at 11:59, I close that week's work, and then I start another class again 6 hours later at 6 a.m. on Monday. So for the next 18 weeks, that's really how the class is going to progress. Each week we'll tackle a new topic, maybe how to mentor somebody, how to set up professional development, what if you're struggling with one of your employees, topics like that. Each week we will dive into those topics through a Zoom video like this, where I share the screen. You'll see my face, and you'll also see a PowerPoint where I will go over the topic. There'll also be an assigned reading, something for you. Some of them are long, some of them are short, but just really designed so that you can dive more into this topic. It might be to support you, it might be to support families, it might be to support the people that you work with. We'll also have a discussion board, and you'll also have a weekly assignment that you need to work on as well. This is a 2-unit class, so expect to spend about 4 to 6 hours a week working on this class, watching the videos, going through discussion boards, doing weekly assignments. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen with the Canvas dashboard. All right, so what you should be seeing now is Canvas. So when you go onto Canvas, you will see your dashboard at Mount San Jacinto, and it will have the classes that you are enrolled in this semester. So for me, I am teaching 3 classes here at Mount San Jacinto, and these are my Canvas boards for each of them. If you're only taking 1 class, you might just see my class. If you're taking 5 classes, you'll see all 5 rectangles that are designed to be the entryway into your class. So this is the Spring 119's TEDS, that's our new department name, 134. So click on that. It's got a little picture of an adult and a child, just kind of to symbolize the work that we'll be doing this semester, supporting children by learning how to supervise adults. From there, you'll see your home page. And for me, my home page is just the weeks. So each week it will be open. You'll see the week, you'll click on it. There will be a video lecture, there will be an assignment, there'll be a discussion board, and there might also be a reading as well. Some of our readings will be in the text. Some of our readings will be a PDF that I might upload from you, or something that I've copied from, a classic text that has to do with child development, A Child Goes Forth, the creative curriculum, something like that that is very pertinent to the topic that we're looking at this week. Off to the side, you'll see some other topics and toggles as well. So assignments, so if you want to see what assignments you need to do this week, which ones you have done already, that's a great place to go. All of the discussions will be in one place as well. Grades, this is a great place as well for you to look at your grades. So I think that it's really important that you know, so these are, for me, what I see is everybody who has taken the class. What you will see is your own specific work. So what is your, what did you get out of 10 on your personal leadership writing that you did? How was your introduced, there's lots of different grades that you might have, and it will give you an example. There is it will give you the grade that you received on that from me. So it's a great place to keep an eye on the grades that you do, is by going to this grade section. You can see the past grades that you received, and then the assignment that you should currently be working on as well. If it's ungraded, there will be no grade, but I am very, let's say, obsessive about grades. I really like to get grades back as soon as possible. I do have a caveat when it comes to grades. Canvas is great, and that's a wonderful place for you to keep track of your grades. Sometimes, because it's a computer system, it's online, and there's lots of users, it can be glitchy. So I always take the grades that you have gotten here, and I put them offline into an Excel spreadsheet, and I calculate them independently as well. The best thing for you is to look at the syllabus, look at the points that I have on the rubric, and compare it to the points that you have seen that I have given you in the class. So Canvas will give you a rough estimate of what you think your grade's going to be, and that's typically within a point or two. If you really need to get an A or a B, or you're very concerned about your grade, please do it offline in order to kind of take the grades that you've received on here and then calculate it against the points in the syllabus instead. That will give you a better and more true representation of what your grade really is if you are that concerned. Like I said, most of the time Canvas is fairly correct. It's within 1 or 2% of the grade that you're probably going to end up getting. You can also see that there's people as well. So clicking on this, you can see the people who are taking the class with you. And then this is the only other one that you really need to be concerned about is the syllabus as well. And that's where I will have the written document for your syllabus when the class opens. That's where you will always have a syllabus so that you can go and you can look at it in the tentative class schedule as well. So you can see we'll have lots of weeks ahead of us of working on lots of different and interesting, hopefully, topics to you: coaching and mentoring, professional development, orientation, listening and learning, what happens when conflicts arise. So those are just a teaser of some of the topics that we'll be covering in this class. So this is the Canvas shell. This is the place where you're going to spend most of your work, and it's also a great place to communicate with me. So if you need to communicate with me at any time, go ahead and just hit this inbox. And then from there, you can shoot a message to me. It's a fantastic way for us to stay in contact with each other. This is an online class. I am available Monday through Friday. I check my emails typically in the morning and at night as well. So I always check my emails twice daily, Monday through Friday. I do not check emails on Saturday. That is my attempt at a kind of home work balance. I have 3 kids of my own. Saturday is our family day. So do not expect a reply from me. Go ahead and shoot me a message on Friday at midnight. I'm not going to see it until Sunday. Sunday, I only check my messages very sporadically. Your assignments are always going to be due on Sunday except for the final. So Sundays are when things are due. If you are going to be working Sundays, your life is just craziness, chaos. You're not going to be able to work on things until 10 o'clock on Sundays. I understand that's how some people work. They like having those deadlines in order to motivate them. That's fine. But if you have questions, 10 o'clock on Sunday night, I am dead asleep. I have been asleep for a while. Once again, 3 kids. I go to bed early because they wake me up really early. So take a look at that week's assignment. Take a look at the lecture, take a look at the readings. But if you have any questions, you can ask me Monday through Friday or earlier on Sunday so that I can get a response to you. Looking at something 2 hours before it's due, that's fine if that's how you work, but don't expect that I'm going to be up at 10 o'clock ready to answer questions for you. This is my job, so I am ready and available to answer all of your questions, concerns, topics that you want to bring to me. Fantastic, great, but do it earlier in the class and not right up on a deadline or at kind of an odd hour and expect that there's going to be a lot of feedback. So once again, if you're somebody working on the weekends, please take a look at the assignment so that if you have any questions before it's due that Sunday night, you can ask me about it and I can communicate with you. I love online learning. I think it's fantastic. You know, I was a teacher once. I worked 40 hours a week in the classroom. I took my classes, night classes. I think it would have been awesome if I had had online learning back then. I wouldn't have had to be so tired and so stressed going to community college at night, trying to get my permit and then my degree. I could have done it from my home. I think that would have been a great option for me back in the day when I was going to school. It wasn't at that time, and so I love that we have this flexibility and we have this opportunity to give ourselves and give our students the opportunity to learn with us in these new environments. The downside though is that I can't read your mind. So if you have a question or you just want to ask me about something, or you'd like to know more about it, point me in the right direction, or I'm struggling, life is really hard, my kid broke his leg, you know, I can't turn this in on time, I had an asthma attack, I'm in the hospital, you know, if anything comes up in your life, I don't see you, we're not meeting once a week in a classroom environment, shoot me an email. Either here on Canvas at this inbox or to my Mount San Jacinto work email as well, which is jvanspoik, J, and I'll write it out later for you guys. You'll see it on the syllabus. It's kind of a tongue twister of a last name, I totally understand. So it is on the syllabus, but that's my Mount San Jacinto email, and that's a great place to get to me as well. Never feel like you can't email me. So if you have a question or concern, that's going to be the way that we're going to communicate in kind of a teacher-student relationship way. So please shoot me emails if anything comes up, if anybody gets sick, if you can't turn something in, you're really struggling, you have a question, you'd like to know more, anything like that, because I can't communicate, I don't know telepathically that you might be struggling. You're gonna need to have kind of that conversation with me, and you're gonna need to open it up by emailing it to me so I can get back to you and we can really kind of give you the feedback that you need. All right, I'm going to do another share, and this time I'm going to share with a PowerPoint that kind of is going to give you a rundown of how the class actually works as well. So once again, this is TEDS 134. We've recently changed the kind of name of our department. It used to be like child development and education. Now it's teaching and developmental studies here at Mount San Jacinto. So this is still 134 though, but you might see CDE or TEDS. It's the same class, same department. It just kind of, as we're making that switch from CDE to TEDS, you might see some kind of confusion with the acronyms that we use. But it is adult supervision, and this is the class that's going to be all about topics about working with adults when it comes to working with children. So this is me. My name is Jolie. I am going to be your instructor for the next 18 weeks in this class. These are 2 of my 3 children. It's basically impossible to get all 3 of your children, you and your spouse, looking at the camera and smiling all together. So this was the best we ever got. A friend of mine came and took pictures of my 2 twins. These are my 2 oldest girls, my twin daughters, right after my youngest was born. So right now I have 2 7-year-olds who are twins, and then a 2-year-old as well. I have been working in this field, let's see, 18 years. I started off as a teacher in a classroom. I went to night school at Maricosta Community College and down in northern San Diego County where I live. And then I eventually transferred to Point Loma Nazarene where I got my bachelor's degree in child development. Right after getting my bachelor's degree, I went straight into getting my master's in childhood studies across the pond over in England for a year, which was a fantastic experience to be international, see how other people approach early childhood education, and then also having the opportunity to just knock out my master's degree in a year. I came back, I started working at a nonprofit as a site supervisor. I then transitioned to Camp Pendleton, the Marine Corps base in San Diego County, where I was a training and curriculum specialist, supporting a lot of challenging behaviors. It was the height of the Iraqi and Afghani war, so working with a lot of families that were going through a lot of deployments, teaching and training our new staff members, and then supervising adults. That was primarily my job. I was really lucky. I didn't have to spend a lot of time scheduling and payroll and things like that. I really got to focus on the children and the staff members, which was a fantastic job. After the birth of my twins, I took a year off, and then I went back to a state-funded program. And then for 5 years after that, I worked as a special education kind of trainer for a regional center. So in this role, I coached and I worked with parents who had children with special needs. I went into their home every week. I worked with the child. I did kind of play-based therapeutic learning. And I also instructed, trained, and mentored the parents in how to set up those early educational experiences with their children. In the last 2 years, I've kind of transitioned into teaching at community colleges. Palomar, Mount San Jacinto, and then also teaching in the Human Development Department at Cal State San Marcos as well. So hopefully maybe in the future, some of you who are taking my classes here at the Community College, I will see you over at Cal State San Marcos, where we have a fantastic department in human development. And we also teach a lot of child development classes within that as well. So that is me. That is kind of the work that I have done that led me to this part of loving to work with the adults who train children. So we know how difficult it is to work with children on a daily basis. The thing that makes the place where you are a great place to work and having fun and you know, wanting to go to work and work with those children every day is feeling supported by the management around you. So I feel really passionate about teaching people to be good managers and supervisors, because we've all probably had those jobs where you didn't feel supported or you felt really stressed out and your boss was part of that. You know, I want to train you and I want to teach you how to be the best boss that you can so that you can support the teachers who support the children. That's making early childhood education a great place for children and also a great place to work. So once again, this class is very much focused on supervising, mentoring, and coaching adults. So I kind of start with this idea that you know who Erikson is, you know who Piaget, Vygotsky is, you know how to structure a classroom, you know what a classroom should look like, what good teaching looks like. You're now supporting the people who are good teachers, you're hiring the people who you want to be in your classroom, and you know how to pick a good teacher from maybe a less good teacher, or you're taking a mediocre teacher and you're inspiring her to become a better teacher. So we're going to cover a wide variety of topics that have to do this, but once again, it's all about supervising your employees within early childhood education. For the most part, I've worked in federal programs and I've worked in state-funded programs primarily. I've done a little bit of nonprofit work. I subbed in an FCC or family child care home, so I have done quite a bit. But a lot of my focus does have to do with kind of the experiences that I have had myself. There's a tremendous amount of diversity when it comes to how we take care of children, and that's why we're going to have discussion boards. So if you're an FCC provider, I want to hear your perspective. If you have one person that you're working with in your large family home that you are doing, I want to hear all about it. If it's just you, what is the, you know, challenges and the strengths of having your own program and you are your own employee? Also, if you're state funded, if you have a program in a more rural community, or if it's super urban, if it's on a Marine Corps base, all those types of things, the discussion boards are going to be a great place where we can hear about all of our different perspectives. So what are the requirements of this class? So each week for about, I think it's 16 weeks, you're going to have something due every week, and it'll typically be due on a Sunday. So I have kind of 12 weekly assignments. One is a discussion board. I have one where you write a plan of action. So if a teacher is really struggling with like turning in lesson plans or talking to the parents appropriately, something like that, what's a plan of action that you could do for this employee to help her change her behavior in order to get better? Other ones might be what it's your own type of leadership styles, like who are you as a leader? So it's a wide variety of topics that we're going to cover, and you're going to write a little bit about them each week. You'll also have 3 additional writing requirements that I'll go over, but instead of having a week, that will then be your weekly assignment. So you won't have 2 things due during that week. You'll just have 1 thing due, and you'll work on one of those additional writing requirements. At the very end of the class, there's also an essay final that we'll do a huge review on. You also have weekly ungraded discussion boards, and you also have assigned readings as well. If this seems like a lot, I'm going to walk you through it. I want you to leave this welcome video feeling great about the next weeks that are to come, and feel good about when things are due, and feel good about the amount of work that you're able to do and put in at this point. So 12 weekly assignments. Once again, it's a variety of assignments designed to support students. So be talking about conflict resolution. So when there are conflicts that arise in a classroom or outside of a classroom, in a break room, how can you support your employees? So that's an example. We're doing a plan of action. Like I said, we're talking about leadership styles. So each week I'm going to give you a small assignment. For the most part, they are written assignments. And this is designed to support students as they put theory. So the things that we talk about in these lecture videos, the things that you're reading, we're taking that theory about management and we're putting it into practice. This is the opportunity. Because it's an online sphere, a lot of it is very much writing based. APA is really only necessary when you are citing something. So if you put in a quote by Maria Montessori when you're talking about leadership styles, because you run a Montessori program, you love Maria Montessori, you know that play is the work of the child, you're going to need to quote that and use APA with a reference page. Other than that, I do not need APA style, only if you're doing a reference, because I need to see, you know, where your information came from. So if you're doing quotes or you're talking about a theorist or you're talking about management theory, it's not your idea, it came from somebody else. Use your APA as a guideline for the reference then, but I don't need a title page. I don't need an abstract for these weekly assignments that we're doing. They're just opportunities for you to explore the theories that we're talking about when it comes in management. Once again, every week I open on Monday the topic for the class, and you have until Sunday at 11:59. So you have about 7 days in order to complete it. So please keep that in mind that most Sundays you are going to have a weekly assignment due. The final essay, the biggest thing about the final essay is finals week. It's kind of starting at a funny time. I think it starts on the Thursday, the 16th of May, and it goes all the way until Wednesday, May 22nd. So that is when the final is due. Write down right now in your planner, on your phone, literally take a minute right now, pause me, and write down somewhere that the final is due Wednesday, May 22nd. A lot of you are going to be on autopilot. You have family, you have friends, you have a full-time job or a part-time job. You think, I will totally remember Wednesday, May 22nd, when the final is due. You probably won't. You'll be on autopilot and you'll think that it'll be due that Sunday. It's not. The class ends. I have to get grades in immediately. I cannot wait for you to get back on Sunday, see that it's due, was due days before, and complete it then. By then, grades will have already been done and submitted for me. So take a minute, write it in whatever way that you need to so that you remember that the final is due Wednesday, May 22nd. And really, you can now put it out of your mind. A lot of times people freak out. Oh my God, it's a final. I haven't done a final in so long, or I get test anxiety or whatever it is. My finals are easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the week before, so the second to last week of class, which is going to be May 13th through 16th. I'm going to give you 10 essay questions, and you're going to have that whole week or however long you need before the final is due to write out your rough draft. So if I'm asking about management, I'm asking about how to coach somebody or the environmental rating scale, whatever it is in my essay questions, you're going to have all week to work on them. From there, out of those 10 that you've already seen and you've already tried and you've already written and you've already asked me questions about, I'm picking 5. So when the final is due, you have a couple of days in order to do it. It's going to be worth 50 points, so each question is worth 10 points. So there's only going to be 5 essay questions. You have already seen them and you've already written a rough draft. So don't stress out about it. Don't have it cause undue stress in your life. It's really an opportunity for me to see, what have you learned? If I give you this scenario about conflict management, can you give me a good outcome? Can you tell me the ways that we've learned in class to work through conflicts? Something like that. Or how do you use an environmental rating scale? What's the importance of a budget? You know, stuff like that. Things we've discussed in the entire 18 weeks of class, you are now putting into practice in your essay questions. But that's kind of hard. So what I do is I give you the opportunity to work through 10 of them, and then I pick 5. So you've seen the final questions. Nothing's going to be a surprise on the final. Then you have 3 additional requirements. You have a training plan agenda. So if you were doing a staff meeting, or you were presenting at a conference, or you were just going to educate adults about child development, we're going to put an agenda together. We're also going to do a short little welcome book. So if you had orientation for a new staff member, or you're a mentor and you now have a mentee or a protege that you're working with. What is the book that you would give them? What would introduce them to the relationship that you're having, and set them up for success in a new job, new position as a protege? And then ECHRS, our environmental rating scale. You should have access to the environmental rating scale. So this book should look very familiar to you. This is the one for preschool. It's the Early Childhood Environment Rating Scale. If you have an infant, toddler, or school age one, that is totally fine as well. We are going to talk about this book later on in the class. If you have one available to you at work, don't go out and buy it. You can still use this as long as your boss or your supervisor is okay with you maybe taking this home, looking through it, then you don't need to go out and buy it. They are quite cheap on Amazon. I think this is my third or fourth one. I'm always losing them. I always loan them out to people and then they never come back to me. And I think that one I got for $5 on Amazon. We are going to use that later on in the class. So we're going to do a small little paper, basically a kind of an analysis of the rating scale later on in the class. The due dates for these additional requirements is in the syllabus, and it's also on Canvas as well. I'm going to give you information about these 3 additional requirements in that week. So the 3 requirements are going to take the place of a weekly assignment. You only have 12 weekly assignments, then you have 3 weekly, then you have these 3 additional requirements. So that week you will not have a discussion board and you will not have a weekly assignment. You'll just be working on these additional requirements. They're not designed to take a really long time. They're just an opportunity for you to accumulate or put together or work on one of these requirements that you'll definitely use professionally. I make agendas all of the time. Basically, anytime I teach or lecture, I have an agenda for that day of the things that I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to teach multiple learners. So you're going to create something like that. The welcome book is an opportunity. I'm going to show you a new kind of an innovative way of structuring our welcome books or our handbooks. It's called a flip book. It's very easy, and I will show you that during that week and how you'll put together some of the writings that you've already done into this welcome book. And then the environmental rating scale, all you really kind of need for that is a classroom. So if any of you are not currently teaching or not working in a center or something like that, please email me this week so I can get kind of a head count of the people who are not, and we'll make sure that you are set up with our lab school or another school in the community in order to kind of take a look at a classroom as well. We're not going to really be doing an environmental rating skill, but you are going to kind of need access to a classroom in order to kind of look at the people and the adults and the children as well. And more information about all of these 3 requirements will be given to you later on in the class on the week that they are due. Readings and discussion boards. So each week you're going to have an assigned reading. It might be from our text. So our textbook is this one. It is called Developing, Mentoring, and Coaching Relationships in Early Care and Education, a Reflective Approach by Marilyn Chu. It's also on our syllabus, so if you need the title and the topic of it, it will be in the syllabus, which is on Canvas for you. I think this is a great book. Once again, it is very cheap on Amazon. I do not give you an edition. I do not care what edition. They're all pretty much the same. Get whatever one is cheapest, the easiest, cheapest way that it is. I mean, like mine is used as well. I do think that it is a great resource, and we will be reading from it. Don't hesitate. If you know somebody in the class, you guys can share it. If it's at work, you can borrow it from work. Really do whatever you need in order to have the cheapest, easiest way for the text to be available. I might also download PDFs. I might have journals. I might have templates. There is going to be additional resources each week as well on campus for you as well. Some of them are short, while others are a bit longer, but it's really a resource to support you as a professional. And then if it's not supporting you, it's how you can support your staff, your families, or the children that you work with. So I will have a reading up every week, or I will tell you in the textbook which reading to do. And then I will also put additional resources on Canvas as well. So action plans, templates, additional readings about child abuse, whatever it is that kind of has to do with the topic, something that I've used in the classroom that maybe was really helpful for me. In addition, I'll have a Pinterest page that you guys can join as well. I mean, how did we ever teach without Pinterest, honestly? But I have a lot of things about marketing, about the food program, just things that I have found that have been really helpful for me in running my own programs. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on this Pinterest board, or if you have something awesome, send it to me so I can pin it so that everybody can see it as well. I do like to offer you as many resources. We're all professionals in the field. I really feel like this is a chance for us to collaborate together. For me to tell you some of the things that have helped when I have been supervising adults, or when fights have broken out, or when I've had angry parents that I have to work with. And then also for you, technology, not really my strength in the classroom. I came up at a time when we didn't have computers in the classroom. So don't even get me started on iPads, the Bright Wheel or the Indeed or all of those apps that you communicate with parents with. I mean, we emailed. but it was very sporadic. That wasn't part of my teaching duties, was to email parents. My newsletter was still printed off the printer and then given to parents. So now, you know, I'm learning from you guys, oh, what great ways to bring technology into the classroom, great ways to communicate with parents. And then what are those downsides of communicating with parents? Sometimes I feel like I had it easier not having so much technology in the classroom. Some of those really delicate things that seem to have cropped up with, you know, I mean, I never was Facebook friends with a parent. I don't have a Facebook, but I'm really glad that, you know, I haven't had to deal with that. Maybe hurting somebody's feelings because I don't want to be Facebook friends with them. You know, things like that. I have seen it because I've been a supervisor in the digital age. I'm not that old. And so I'm helping and supporting you through that. But with a lot of the technology, some of the younger generations that are coming up are better at it. And I'm always constantly learning from you guys about how to use technology to make our lives. There is some discussion boards. So there is one graded discussion board in week 1, and that's your weekly assignment. You're gonna introduce yourself. I wanna meet you. It's a virtual space. This is going to be the way that we're gonna communicate together primarily is through an online space and through email. So I'd like to meet all of the students. After that, there's gonna be weekly discussion boards, but it's not graded. I hope that you will use it professionally. So an opportunity for you to share your perspective, to learn from other people, to grow your network. So, you know, if you want to make the switch into a Head Start, maybe you meet somebody who's working at a Head Start and you guys can talk and chat and develop a relationship, and they can help you grow and build your network. Also, if you are great at coaching and you want to give us your resources on coaching, or you're great at inspiring staff that maybe have been around along, they're really experienced, but maybe they've lost that spark and passion. What are the ways that you inspire other people? There's lots of different topics that we're going to be covering in these discussion boards. They're not graded because I want you to tell me what's the most important. I don't want you to just write something for points. I want it to be a natural, organic space where we learn, collaborate, and work together. And then once again, I will have a Pinterest board, and I will give you more information about that in the second week of class as a visual way for you to kind of share ideas. All right, so that is the PowerPoint for this week. I'm going to share with one more, and that is going to be the syllabus for this class. Okay, so this is the syllabus that you guys are going to have. It's going to be on Canvas off to the left-hand side. There's a little tab that says syllabus. It will always be there, or it will also be its own document in the first week of Canvas. So in the first module called week 1 on Canvas, the syllabus will always be there as well. If I have to make any changes to it, I will let you know, and I will upload a new one, so you'll always have the most current copy. If you like to have paper copies, feel free to print this on your own and access it. I know that that can be really helpful. I typically do that as well. I like to have a paper copy and then electronic copy of everything as well. So this is the syllabus. This is my name. This is my email, jvanscoik. You can just call me Jolie, though. I know Vanscoik is a bit of a tongue twister, but this is my email here at Mount San Jacinto. If you do email me, please write 134 in the subject line. I teach 5 to 7 classes each semester, so please help me out by telling me which class you are in. It really helps out. In the past, though, if I'm teaching multiple sections, it can get really confusing. This is the only 134 that I'm teaching, so that's fantastic. So as long as you put 134 in it, I should be good and I should know which class you're in. If you need to meet with me, that is fantastic. There are lots of options. I'm at Mount San Jacinto typically on Thursdays, so that's when I teach in person, so we can meet on Thursdays. I can also meet up halfway with you. I do live in Oceanside, down in San Diego County, so I'm a bit of a hike away, so I don't typically come up to Mount San Jacinto except on Thursdays. But we can always meet virtually as well. I can set up, this is a Zoom recording. I can always set up a Zoom for us so that we can virtually communicate with each other as well. I'd see your face, you would see my face, and we can talk like this. email, and then I can always call you on the phone as well. So please email me if you ever just want to chat. In the past, I've helped students, I've given them my perspective on starting their own family childcare, starting an after-school program, nonprofits, you know, working with specific cases. So if you have a family or an employee that you're really struggling with, you know, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of classroom space. So, but you can always email me and I can give you my perspective on the situation that you're in. All right, so this is the description, like I've talked about, supervising students, teachers, volunteers, staff, just kind of adults who work in early childhood education. These are the learning outcomes that learning objectives that we'll be looking at. So training sessions, mentors, mentees. This is that text that I was talking about. So this one, it looks like this. The one that I've seen most of the time is a bunch of hands. It looks like this. But this is that book. So it's developing mentoring and coaching relationships in early care and education. Once again, I don't have an edition for you, however it is cheapest for you to buy it. It's also at the bookstore as well if you wanted to physically go somewhere. Then we have the early childhood environmental rating scale that looks like this. You need to get your hands on that, and some way we will be using that later on in the class as well. All right, so when we get to class conduct, this really has to do with our discussion boards, and really just be nice, kind, courteous, polite to each other. I don't care if you agree about something, maybe you have vastly different ideas on how to inspire experienced staff. You have completely different ideas. I don't care, as long as you are polite, you should feel free to express your ideas, engage in discourse, but you need to, you know, challenge each other nicely. You need to be polite to each other. In the first week, when we are introducing ourselves to the rest of the class, I will have an additional handout on what I kind of expect. The biggest thing, and the thing that you've probably heard, is that it's really hard to convey tone online, being sarcastic, being funny. Sometimes it's like a wah wah when it's online, because we don't understand that you're being sarcastic, or that was supposed to be a joke, or you were you know, trying to be playful about something. So if you are attempting a joke or to be humor or lighthearted, please do an emoji or something like that in order to convey that tone to us. But just be aware that some of those things might fall flat in an online space. But I would really encourage you guys to express your viewpoints and your ideas, but do it in a kind, courteous, and polite way. All right, so email, once again, please write 134 in the subject line. I do check them Monday through Friday. So expect I do it morning and night typically. So expect a response within 24 business hours. I do not check my email on Saturdays. That's my one day off a week for my family. And then on Sundays, I will check it. But if you are a person that waits until the last minute, take a look at it earlier in the week. Because once again, if you're starting at 11:30 at night, on Sunday night, I am not around to answer those questions. So take a look at it earlier. See, oh, I don't understand what she's saying. Get that feedback and that clarification from me, and then you can go ahead and do it on Sunday or whenever it works best for you. Once again, office hours, email me, and I can either set it up with ConferZoom, which is what this recording is right now. We can do it virtually, or we can meet in person or talk on the phone. There's lots of different ways in which we can have conversations with each other. Everything is going to be on Canvas. Once again, all the assignments, don't send anything to me in the mail. That's the great thing about online learning, is you can just submit it whenever you have finished it onto Canvas. And Canvas is great about letting you know if you submit something, when your grades are, how you've done on something. It's great about that. So plagiarism. I do turn the plagiarism checks on. So if you have plagiarized, I will know immediately. It will tell me exactly where you lifted it from. So once again, if it is a quote, it needs to be in quotations, or you need to just use APA in order to tell me where this information came from. In some of them, I do turn the plagiarism check off, because the wording that we are going to be using is so ubiquitous that it's just part of the language that we use every day. And so it would come up as plagiarism, but it's really not. Like, so for example, an at-will statement, everybody has the same at-will statement. It's a very legal term as part of a job description or a job contract that we use, but it's not plagiarism. Everybody uses it. It's just a standard legal term to describe the employment contract that you engage in here in California. So in those type of check ideas, I know that some of the things are going to come up with a higher maybe plagiarism check, or I might turn it off because I understand that some of the things that we're doing, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just kind of using it, using these terms in order to write our management theory. But if you were writing, let's say your training agenda and you lifted it from somebody else's training agenda, I'm going to know, and that will be an automatic 0. And then you will also go to other academic departments within Mount San Luis as well. If you have a disability, a verified disability, please just send that to me as soon as possible. For the most part, Disability Services is great about sending me those emails. But if it hasn't come through and you're going to need some kind of accommodation, please email it to me. I am more than happy to work with you guys in this class. Student support services, great thing about San Jacinto, we have healthcare, we have academic help, we have counseling, support services, so many fantastic things. I urge you, if you need that, please take advantage of it. In my community college kind of history myself, I'm very good at writing, I'm very good at reading, I'm very good at talking to people, I'm terrible at math and science. But I needed that to transfer in order to get my 4-year degree to kind of hit my professional goals. I failed my first algebra class and I seriously considered stopping school. I didn't want to continue. Why do I need to do math? I'm a fantastic teacher. I know more math than a 3-year-old. Why would I need to know math? But I realized I wanted my permit, and I realized that I wanted my degree in order to get to the professional goals that I had. So I took another math class, and then I went to tutoring services, and I went a lot. I just needed that. That's just how my brain was. And the tutors were amazing. They never made me feel lesser than. They never made me feel dumb. They were there to support me and support my goals. I passed the class. I got a B-, which I never thought when I got a D+ the semester before that I was ever going to get there. And that's what allowed me to get towards my transferring and get my degree. So maybe you can, you understand the story that I've just told. You're in a similar place. You have to take a class that you don't want to take a class in order to transfer. Please stick with it, and please use all the support services that we have here. Every single person on this campus is here to support you. Also in this class, it's very reading heavy and it's very writing heavy. If those are not your strengths, you might need to go to the tutoring department. You might need some help with English as a second language. Please reach out to those support services. They are here to help you. I want you to be the best supervisor, manager of a program that you can be, and you're going to need some student support services in order to get that way. So please use those services. If you're confused about where to go, where they are, how to access them, just shoot me an email and I can help you in kind of figuring out where they are and how it will fit into your life to take advantage of this. Here, once again, are the assignments that we're going to be doing. So I will have discussion boards. Only one will be graded. There'll be 12 weekly assignments. There'll be the Eckers paper. So once again, if you don't have access to a classroom, you're not currently working in a classroom or in early childhood education, maybe you're just a full-time student or you're transitioning into teaching, whatever it is, if you don't think in about 12 weeks that you will be able to get to a classroom, just shoot me an email this week and we can figure out how you can either be at the lab school or how you can find another school in your kind of professional network or in your own community to do this Eckers paper on. You also do a training plan and agenda, a welcome book, and then a super easy essay final at the end. So this is the tentative course schedule. So this is when all of the big assignments are due. So in week 9, you'll have the training plan agenda. In week 10, you'll have the welcome book. And all of these other sections on Canvas, it will say that the weekly assignment is due. So you'll know each week what you will need to be working on by 11:59 on Sunday night. And at the very end will be Eckers, then we'll have a review and a final as well. So that is the final for this 134 class. I just want to make sure that you guys feel great about this class and that you feel that you feel like this is something that you can be doing for the next 18 weeks. So once again, it is a 2-unit class, so expect to spend about 3 to 6 hours a week working on our discussion boards, doing the reading, watching the video lectures, and doing the weekly assignments as well. In addition to that, I really hope that you will look at some of the resources that I put onto the Canvas board, that you'll go to our Pinterest page, that you will email me. You really have to put something in to get something back out of this class. It would be really easy just to complete it very robotically, but I'm hoping that as professionals, as managers, as future supervisors, assistant directors, program directors, whatever your professional goal is within early childhood education, I hope that you'll see this class as a leaping stone or a way for you to learn more about the particular topic. I love and I'm really passionate about this class and all the other management classes that I teach at Palomar and at Cal State San Marcos as well, because I really see you as kind of the future. You guys are going into the classroom, you're supporting the teachers, you're making sure you're the ones that have the vision and the leadership and are changing programs to be better and to better meet the needs of the children in our community. So I'm very passionate about this. So I hope that you will collaborate with me, that you'll email me, that we can have conversations in office hours, that on the discussion boards, you'll give me all of the fantastic perspectives and knowledge that you have so that we can make these collaborative spaces in order to learn from each other. So that's it for the welcome video. The rest of this week is getting used to the syllabus, getting the book. There's a little 0-point quiz about the requirements and things like that, how to communicate with me, just to kind of reinforce some of the things that were in this welcome video so that you feel good about how the class is going. All right, that's it for this week. I will see you guys next week in the next video lecture. Have a great week.